cut the over 200 million naira worth of grass contract in the Northeast. Some senators disagree over the letter from the president clearing the secretary to the government, Mr. Babachi Lawa, of any wrongdoing. But the Senate report says the monies were disbursed, but the grass remain uncut. We dissect the matter right here on the program. And the anti-corruption war of the Buhari government has been called to question as the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, says the war is over, with what he said is a clear one-sided campaign. That's our focus tonight on the program. Welcome tonight on the program, everyone. I'm Seun Okinbale. Let's tell you about what the federal government says is happening just about now in the nation as we're reaching you on the program live from our Abuja studio. Today, the Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, says it has discovered some false alarms and messages sent via SMS and online designed to destabilize the nation. In a statement by the minister, he says there is no iota of truth in the messages being circulated on the health of the president, who is ill and hearty, and the purported emergency meetings of the state governors in Abuja or anywhere. He said the naysayers have also resorted to the use of ethnicity and religion as tools to divide Nigerians, overheat the polity, and cause panic among the citizenry. End of quote now. The federal government says it is investigating the matter. And now over to our major story of the day. A situation where millions of Nigerians are still traumatized in Nigeria's northeast region by the rascally, devilish, and atrocious activities of the Boko Haram insurgency, leaving them homeless and helpless. The government came up with monies to help them get back to their lives. But the Senate investigating the matter says contracts were awarded but not implemented. Were monies paid? The Senate panel says yes, monies were paid. Well, even contract as much as over 200 million naira were given for cutting grasses in the northeast. But that contract is allegedly linked to the secretary to the government of the federation through one of his company, Roller Vision, who they say he was a director on, Mr. Babachi Lawa. The Senate panel says the man should resign. But the president, after his own investigation, says the report of the panel is not enough to sack Mr. Lawa. When the report was presented to the National Assembly from the president, Senator Shehu Sani stood up and said the content of the report as presented from the letter of the president is full of lies. Hear him again.
When it comes to fighting corruption in the National Assembly and the judiciary and in the larger Nigerian scene, the presidency uses insecticides, and when it comes to fighting corruption within the presidency, they use deodorant. What we did was a thorough job. We invited all the companies concerned. We invited the SGF, and he sent us the secretary of the presidential initiative on the Northeast. And the secretary testified under oath that he is competent enough. He came with tons and tons of documents, which we went through, and then we came out with our report.
Well, Senator Shehu Sani representing Kaduna State. So one underlining statement there, that the president, when tackling corruption in the judiciary and other places, uses insecticide, but when it comes to his own government, uses deodorant. That is a loaded statement, isn't it, for someone who belongs to the ruling APC. Well, I have joining me in the studio here to discuss this matter a former member of the House of Representatives and a legal practitioner, Mr. West Idahosa. Many thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Also is Mr. Ayo Oyalo, a member of the All Progressives Congress. Many thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, Sean, for
having me. Let's begin with this conversation, which again and again, in fact, the panel has said that this report that they presented is an interim report. That means that when there is a full report, from what Senator Shehu Sani said on the program yesterday, he said, well, wait for the full report and you will see many more revelation into what has happened to what, that the contracts in the Northeast, over 200 million naira is said to have been used or contracted for cutting grasses. Let me begin with you, Honorable Wesley Dawson. What do you make with what transpired on the floor of the Senate yesterday from the letter where the president clearly was clearing Mr. Babachi Lawa of any wrongdoing based on the report of the panel?
Well, you have to understand that the secretary to the government of Nigeria is an appointee of the president. And under Section 171 of the Constitution, he does not require the clearance of the Senate or the consent of anybody to appoint him. And so when you put the secretary to the government of Nigeria on the spot, you put the presidency on the spot. So that's understandable. Now, the point is, tactically and technically, the report itself was deficient.
Which of the reports now?
The interim report.
From the Senate panel?
Yes. Because you see, you don't want to reach a strong-weighted decision on an interim report. You see, an interim report means, in those days when we were there, we provide a skeletal base for understanding what's going on. And then normally you report to say, we will come out with our findings. Now, the question that I'll ask, assuming without conceding that an interim report is acted upon, and then when the final report comes upon, there is a clearance. What happens to the punishment in the interim? So I am of the view that they should have waited for the final report, because you are dealing with asking a man to step out from office. It's punitive, whether you like it or not.
The big question here, interestingly, you are a lawyer.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that who are the owners of investigating an alleged crime? What arm of government or what agency of government has that the responsibility?
Well, of course, you can't take away legislative powers from investigation. If you look at Section 88 and 89 of the Constitution, it gives them the power to look into certain things conditionally. One of such conditions is when they want to make laws on a matter. Second condition is when they want to expose corruption or waste. It's very important. And then when you go back to the Senate rules, it gives them the power, pursuant to Section 88 and 89, to investigate, I quote, anything.
Well, when the president said he was investigating and the president set up a committee, one will wonder that that committee or that job should be given to the police in the first place.
Well, you have to understand that there are two types of investigations we are talking about. First is administrative political investigation. In other words, was there a wrongdoing? Did somebody breach the oath? Did somebody act in a manner that was contrary to public expectation? Did somebody bring dishonor to his office? And then the other one is pure criminal investigation. So there are two separate.
Because this is a criminal-related, crime-related investigation. But let me allow Mr. Oyalawo to weigh in on this one. Mr. Babachi Lawal is said to have been invited. That's what the panel chairman said. He was invited. He did not show up. He sent a secretary, brought loads and loads of documents, but he even swore an oath and said that he's capable of defending the cause when he appeared there. What kind of situation do you want to put yourself, for example, when the Senate panel invites you on an incriminating situation as such as the kind of mind-blowing amount involved in this issue?
Sure, thank you. I don't know whether you have even taken your time to look at some of the documents that purportedly incriminated the SGF. Initially, I was one of the online community that said, crucify him, Babachi Lawa is a thief. But on second thought, I wanted to know, before you crucify a man, what really was his crime? They said Roller Vision is a company he owns, and he didn't resign from that company until 2016, August or thereabout. But going back to the document that I have here, I found out that the man actually resigned a year before they say he resigned. And it's unfortunate that from the document that was gotten here and from the original, you find out that there have been some alterations. So you don't want to punish a man based on some people's feeling. For me, I am seeing a situation where it looks like we're fighting back. The executive has painted the legislature as corrupt, so we have to paint them back. See, it's not about Bechelawa, like he rightly said. It's about putting the presidency on the spot. And some of the documents that I'm looking at here, it's very funny. Roller Vision was contracted by ADB some years back, and they did a job of covering over 400 kilometers of stubborn invasive plant species. You need to see the kind of grass we're even talking about. But Roller Vision,
special grass. That's why it's a special contract.
No, it's not even special. You need to. I saw the picture. Unfortunately, camera will not be able to pick this. You need to see it. Number one. Number two, it was ADB contract some years ago. The current one, Roller Vision, was actually a supervisory body that was contracted to be like a consultant. So Roller Vision got 7 million. Let me finish, please. Okay. Not 200 million.
Out of the contract?
Yes.
The question, morally speaking, if Mr. Babachila was sitting, let's even say he had resigned, true, and truly he did resign as against what the Senate panel had said, one we wonder, morally speaking, for the kind of situation and the kind of contract that contract was, should any company that he has a link to even be part of a bidding process of that nature?
Well, you have to ask yourself another question. Is the company competent? Is it a limited liability company or an enterprise? A limited liability company cannot die because somebody resigned. He's just one of the directors. You need to understand that. He is no longer a part of that company. See, it's easy to... We have a situation where when you throw a mob justice out, nobody is listening, nobody is thinking. Because he was a member of that company before, doesn't mean he has left. The company should no longer do the job. I mean, they were contracted based on the fact that they had an expertise. They have done something similar in the past. Look, Babechi Lawal and I have never met. I don't even like him as a person. I only saw him once in my life. But the truth is, if you want to punish a man, you have to punish him based on fact, not sentiment, not emotions, not what you feel like.
Having gotten the contract is one thing on one hand. Another thing is that, was the contract even done in the first place?
The contract was given to Pine, not to Roller Vision. Now the Senate should be investigating that. Suddenly we have forgotten about the substance of the contract. It's about let's crucify.
And I'll put you on the spot. I'll put you on the spot. If you were President Muhammadu Buhari and someone as big as the SGF is in your cabinet and he has an incriminating allegation, against him, what would you do?
I will look at the thing they say he has done. If he has done nothing, I will not even answer you.
In some other crimes, what do you think would have happened?
Well, in our crime, I'm not talking of another crime.
Okay, right Honorable West Dausa, in some other crime, what do you think would naturally have happened?
No, there's no question. I mean, by now there would have been a resignation. I mean, you see,
in some other crime.
Sometimes stepping aside, isn't it?
No, a resignation. You see, the reason is very clear. Whether he was they were subcontractors, they were main contractors, you know that you hold a public office of trust. And you must know also that everything connected with you in the past and in the present will be under public scrutiny. And that's a clear conflict of interest. So you must avoid the banana peel, and you have no moral justification to go near these contracts at this point in time. Now, if you were in any civilized country, you will be out of office for now. Then we will be talking about how you can clear your name.
Because a lot of people will say, if he stays in office, it might be in the way of the investigation. But we will take a moment on the program, and when we return, more on this anti-corruption war, because the opposition party has come up to say, well, the anti-corruption war of Buhari government has gone south. Bye-bye to anti-corruption war of Buhari. That's what the PDP is saying. We dig deeper into that matter when we return. Join us again.
PDP.